Hello everyone, welcome to what I believe will be the first episode coming out on the third year of the channel, because we're recording this on the day the channel makes 3 years and the anniversary episode has just gone live. So yeah, welcome to a whole new year. I'm Des and I'm here with
Lurf.
And I'm Pokey.
What we're gonna be doing today is, if you remember, some time ago we did a fandom check where we just discussed general things regarding the When They Cry fandom, in which we discussed the first episode of the stage play and our place, and this time we're gonna be discussing the second episode of the stage play and a little thing that Ryukishi, I don't know if it was Ryukishi, it probably was. Basically in May, I believe it's called the Higurashi mobile game. They released a character story between Hanyu and Iue, and it has some interesting information. It has a confirmation that finally shuts down any kind of cope you could possibly have about Iue not being feathered in. So we're gonna be discussing that and all the implications it might have. So yeah, let's start with the stage play. I mean, it's been what, a year since the last stage play?
Yeah,
It's hard to believe.
that was my first appearance on the channel.
That was
Yeah.
and you're a part of
yeah,
it.
it felt fitting that I come record the second episode too.
It's also funny because I just replaced Mushroom over the course of the year. I am now the third member of the fandom check.
Stick around to find out who it will be next year.
Rest in peace, Mushroom.
It's like those Russian dolls where you open one up and there's another one inside. If you open Poke up, you'll find Mushroom.
It just keeps going back and forth.
Yeah. So, how did you like the second stage of the Golden Witch, as it is called?
I loved it. It was really really good. I loved everything that they did with like the lighting and like how they like presented everything.
I guess we should establish what we thought about the first one for people who haven't watched it. So we also really loved the first one. I'm glad they transferred over everything that we did love about the first one, like the lights, as you were saying, and most of the cast, because the casted was amazing. The way they just move around and replicate the sprite poses.
The cast was just
good.
incredible. I was blown away even more the second time.
Yeah, there was a lot of attention paid to the details and a lot of effort from the people executing those details to make them actually come out the way they were intended. I'm thinking of things like the way they do the red truth. They just unfold a strip of cloth and then project the red truth onto it, like they do in the anime, but like in real life. It's so cool.
Yeah, but what I really love about the cloth thing that they started doing is how they like wrapped Battler up in it when he was getting stuck.
I cannot wait for the red web. I saw that and I was like, what are they gonna do on EP3?
Dude, he's gonna be so tied up. He's gonna be so stuck in the web.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Episode 3, just thinking about it. Every episode just steps it up in terms of the fantastical scenes
Yeah.
and the scale.
I don't remember if they did it in EP1 or not. Because, full spoilers for Umineko, by the way. And later on for the Higurashi and Ciconia too, but we'll bring those up when we reach the character story. But yeah, Umineko spoilers. What I was gonna say is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the stakes appeared in the first stage, because theoretically, Eva and Hideyoshi end up being like killed by the stakes in the meta narrative, but I don't think they appear.
There
Is that right?
isn't really a meta narrative. Well, at the same level in episode 1. We don't exactly see the stakes.
Yeah. Okay, so this episode was the first time we were actually shown the thing where they drop the curtains and then you just see the stake flying around like the DVD screensaver, and the way they do it is so cool, because it's Canon is trying to attack one of the stakes, then the curtains drop and they project like smoke just dissipating from where Canon attacked, and then they keep fighting and then they drop the curtains again, the stake projection flies around, and then rise the curtain again, and Kanon's just fucking dead on the spot. Or before that, it's Jessica shields him, and then she has a stake in the back. It's so cool the way they like go back and forth from using the curtains, the projections, the lights.
Yeah, they did a really good job using the projections to display magic. I also really liked the touch with the goat heads with their eyes glowing, so you could see them like arrive in the dark.
And Kanon's
so cool.
swords.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a very good Umineko anime adaptation as much as anyone, but the people behind this clearly knew that it was designed for the stage. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was sitting there watching EP2, like the stage play, and I don't think it could replace the VN, because there's a lot in the VN that isn't in the stage play, but I still don't think it's at the point where I would show someone who has not touched Umineko. I would show them the stage play and tell them, yeah, it's fine to watch the stage plays instead of the VN. It's not at that point, but it's really close.
Yeah.
They kept the essential parts and basically cut out nothing. They just optimized Umineko, basically.
Yeah, I will say, like, in terms of the stage plays, I would probably show someone the episode 1 stage play to get someone into Umineko, if they were interested in it, but I wouldn't show them the episode 2 one, to, like, you know, like, further their interest. I would be like, go read the VN, because I feel like, with the episode 2 stage play, I noticed them cut things out a lot more than I did in episode 1. That's, like, one note I do have.
Oh, could you give us an example?
I have an example. I kind of had to skim through the end because I personally just hate, like, force feeding, so I kind of had to skip that Rosa scene. So I didn't see Burn Castell at all.
Yeah, they didn't have Burn Castell in the first one either, and then they didn't have Burn Castell or Lambda Delta in here either, which I think feels a little weird knowing how important they're going to be becoming later. But Mushroom and I watched the EV, like, you know, when it came out, which is, you know, like this like a little cast interview. They do questions, and they like did like the actual EP1 like tea party, like they reenacted it. And basically, from what we could tell, the guy who's in charge of this, huge Erica fan. Like, Erica's his favorite character. He kept making jokes about her. So, like, I trust him to bring in Lambda Delta and Burn Castell at some point. And I can see why he wouldn't, at least in the stage play now, because it just feels a little random to like a hypothetical non-Umineko audience who's watching it for the first time. It's just kind of like, okay, why is this random person appearing at the end? The show's over.
Yeah, she's important, but she isn't so important to the events of episodes 1 and 2. Like, even you don't even learn until really episodes 3 and 4 that she's technically influencing Battler, even though she's absolutely no help at all.
Yeah.
But even so, they can retroactively add her in if, let's say, in a future episode, Bernie's like, oh, and I was there when you were naked on the floor, but for that they just, I don't know, turn off the lights, reenact the scene, turn on the lights, and they're like displayed the same way they were in this episode, and then one of the goats takes the mask off and it's Bern or something.
She was there the entire time.
And then they lights off, lights on, and it's back.
Yeah, I can definitely see them like kind of just retroactively having Burn be like, yeah, I was there, and I think it'll just like make sense. The stage was built for suspension of disbelief. You know, you tell the audience they were there, you're like, yeah, they were there.
Speaking of stage, it just reminded me of a scene that I wanted to mention. When Butler and Beato are arguing, and Butler brings up turning the chessboard around. It's not him who brings him up. It's like him thinking back to Kirie. Then it lights up to Kirie on top of the stairs, saying it. And then when the light on Kiria turns off and it lights on again on Butler and Beato, the stage starts spinning. That was such a nice touch.
I noticed.
It's really
very
good.
Fun.
Like the rotating stage keeps coming back as an amazing idea they had.
I love the rotating stage. But in terms of like non like super big things that they cut out that I noticed, I like especially felt the absence of the scene where you know, when Shannon George are like fighting against Beato, where she summons Cannon is like, get killed by your brother Shannon. I feel like that's like a not really like a key element, but I feel like it's a really like you know, like important like bit about like showing like the heart and like kind of showing like the truth behind like Shannon and her insecurities and stuff, because like, you know, getting killed by your brother kind of like shows like the reason, you know, she's dying here, the reason she can't be with George, the reason she can't be happy here is because of that canon side of her. So I really felt when that was cut out. I feel like that was like one of my only like damn. And you know, they also like kind of like, you know, like simplified the scene with like Jessica like rampaging in the guest bedroom. We didn't have her go there. We just kind of immediately cut to her in her room. And Kennan's like, oh yeah, there was a letter in the guest bedroom, the VIP room that he read there. But that wasn't really like as impactful for me. It was just like something that I noticed. But the get killed by your brother, Shannon, that's the one that got me like, I'm sad we didn't get to see that.
Yeah, because they also wouldn't have lost anything.
Yeah, I just think it was like a time thing where like they didn't want things to stretch on for too long, and I do feel like, you know, they get the point with the Beato like love monologue and like getting pissed.
I guess
you get enough of the point of the scene across without the canon bit. I just really like the canon bit.
Yeah. In a visual novel, it's easier to just put a character sprite on screen and say, "Hey, look, I made this person appear. Now they're gonna do this." In a stage, like it might be more disorienting to have a character just walk on and not have it take up some time.
Yeah, especially because like that bit is so quick in the VN. Beato like pumps it up to be this dramatic thing, and then Shannon instantly eviscerates canon.
I don't know. I think they could have still pulled it off. Like they pulled off so much shit. Why wouldn't they be able to pull that off?
No, I agree they could have pulled it off. I just like understand why they wouldn't have done it, especially because it would have just kind of been like really like quick and may not have like added too much like overall, like that the scene didn't already have. I guess aside from like the canon Shannon like being like, you know, like one and the same, hence that that little bit there gives. But I feel like you get at least enough of it with the canon hole in chest scene and like Shannon confronting him.
Yeah,
where you can kind of surmise like what happened.
Yeah, that's true. But well, getting back to good things about the stage play, Beato appeared, and she's great.
She's covered in glitter, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
Kills.
So, did we end up reaching a conclusion whether that was her VA or not?
It's not.
Oh, it's not? She makes such a good Beato.
She makes an amazing Beato. I think like the only person who is their VA is Genji.
Cause yeah, what was it you told me? You told us on the voice call about Genji. Wasn't it that Genji's VA is a massive Umineko fan?
Yeah, I think Mushroom said something about it, about like how like every.
Oh, it was Mush.
Yeah, I think like all the cast members, and like the like from either Umineko or the stage play like call him like Ryukishi, like, you know, the second or whatever, because of how much he knows about Umineko.
Ryukishi 08.
Ryukishi 08. That's great though. But yeah, like it's not just the way she speaks, the way she moves. It's just Beato. I was just witnessing Beato in front of my eyes.
No, because like every time Beato and Battler like interacted, like I fell in love with Beato all over again. I was like, oh, I'm simping so hard. Like when Battler sat up on the table and Beato just like dragged her arm like up his torso and then like wrapped it around his neck. I was like, oh my god, like the choreography, like what are you doing?
Do that to me.
Oh my god, me like fanning myself. I was watching like the stage play like in my gamer chair, like leaned like almost all the way back with like a hand over my mouth. Like when I was watching that, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, sheesh.
Sheesh.
And can we just like applaud them for going through with the Battler naked scene?
Yes.
But yeah, I remember when he showed
God.
up. Of course, like 2 seconds in, you realize he has like a skin colored underwear. But like when you like your first reaction to it is like, there ain't no way they actually did it.
No, for real.
And then of course they didn't do it, because like they wouldn't just have someone butt naked on stage. But like your first impression is like, there ain't no fucking way.
Yeah, like I had like a small doubt that they may not go through with it when they had the canon scene without him like having like his shirt off and like having him bandaged. But like, you know, like that wasn't like necessary to get the point of the scene across. Battler being nude is necessary.
Is it?
It is, of course it is.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't want it, in the scene, but
it just drives further home the point that he's like absolutely vulnerable in the face of of this witch who's just so powerful in leading him to the point where he's just fucking ready to admit witches exist and throw what's it called? Throw off the jacket, like just give up.
throw off the jacket and everything else with it.
Just fucking give up and do and be at the mercy of her.
Yeah, and it's very much like, you know, like showing like the dehumanization of Battler, which is a lot of Sayo like shoving her feelings onto Battler of like how she's kind of been dehumanized as like someone who calls herself furniture, and like kind of forcing him to understand this, at least like in her like little fictional world, and like also Sayo being very, very horny for Battler. I feel like it just says a lot about like Sayo's feelings towards Battler, so I feel like it's a very like key part of the mystery that, you know, like and she kind of wants to have this power over Battler after he made her feel so like shitty you know, and also like the fact that like understanding the witch and accepting magic comes in the form of a punishment rather than a reward.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't, like, be like, oh, yay, Battler, thank you, takes you to the Golden Land, I'm so glad you understand my magic. It's like, he did it wrong. Like, he's not supposed to understand magic, and Sayo, you know, has gotta, like, show
bad end
him in that way. And that's not the right answer. That, like, him just giving up means that like he's worthless, like, you know, like you gave up, you didn't think about it, fuck you, get eaten by my goats and be humiliated in front of all these people.
It really does add to the I guess the theme with Higurashi, which is that as things go on, like each of the episodes is a bad ending, so you have to keep working until you get the good ending. And it's something that I'm not really sure most of Umineko follows, but definitely episode 2, now that I think about it, yeah, they made the wrong choices, so now it's a bad end.
No, it definitely follows. Like in EP3, he's also ready to just sign the contract admitting witches exist. The only reason he doesn't, and it's because Angie pops up. Like if he did, he'd probably be stripped naked again and eaten by the goats again.
No, actually, the reason he hesitates is because Beato fucks it up.
Oh yeah, she fucks it up on purpose. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she fucks it up on purpose because she doesn't want him to. Because by then, Ichigo is writing the story, so like she's given her, like, you know, Ichigo and Toya, they give Beato a slightly more sympathetic lens, whereas when Sayo writes Beato, she is like exactly who she says she is. Like, she's a merciless witch. She doesn't give a shit about you. Fuck you, Battler. Gahaha, I'm so sexy and mean, and I'm gonna punish you for being for lying to me.
L plus ratio plus hahaha.12.
Yeah,
I
because
guess that's where episode 4 comes in, because by then that's when things start getting ambiguous, where we don't know what is a win condition for Battler anymore, because by then he's totally sympathetic towards Beatrice in a way, but they're also supposed to be enemies. So, and then the answer, quote unquote, answer arcs are where we start getting to the even more ambiguity. So yeah, I agree that the naked Battler is important to the plot.
Yeah.
And similarly to Naked Battler, there's another power dynamic scene earlier on, which I honestly prefer, which is the one where Battle just takes Butler's tie off and pulls him with a tie, and he's like, you're incompetent. Yeah, and it fucking leaves, and Butler plays the rest of the scenes with the tie out.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I really like that detail, like, you know, obviously, like, it gets taken out of the meta world because it's the same actor and blah, 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 but I really like the kind of, like, visual of, like, Battler's, like, losing this battle, and he's really suffering here, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's, like, visibly more disheveled throughout the rest of the stage play because of it.
Yeah.
Like, he's completely thrown off his game, and, like, he looks miserable. He looks so sopping wet and pathetic.
Yeah, and whenever he's talking with Maria, for the rest of the scenes, he really just like, yes, Maria, I believe in Beato. And still regarding that scene with the tie, I think they were trying to replicate the panel, the manga panel, where they do that, which is one of the best manga panels in the Umineko manga, and I think they really did it justice. It really came out great. I don't know if you know what panel I'm talking about. I can pull it up.
I would appreciate that.
I know the exact one.
So
Okay, I'll look it up.
awesome.
I love that panel. It's iconic. I feel like, at least like in the end though, Beato has this more like feeling of being like shocked that Battler is this stupid. Like, holy shit, I can't believe you're this dumb. Like, she has like this shocked like what the fuck sprite, you know, where she's got that like little like
The eyes open.
like mouth open, like
Yeah.
like, I wasn't expecting you to be this stupid. Like, this is an issue for me. I thought you were gonna be smarter. But I feel like the manga panel is just so freaking iconic.
Let's see, other things I like about... Oh, we want to talk about the Takano jump scare?
Yeah, the reuse of costumes from their other, like, 07 plays,
Yeah.
the Rose Gun days and the Higurashi ones.
But the way my heart exploded when I just saw Rose Gun stays on stage. What?
Because for you dear listeners, I was streaming the stage play for people, and I had already seen it, but I hadn't like paid attention at that part. Like, my brain was empty. I was just really excited to see cannon drip that I didn't pay attention to anything else. And so like we were watching, and you know it goes to the school stage, and I forget who it was, but I just hear like, is that Mio Takano? And we have to like pause it. We're like, holy shit, Mio Takano goes to Jessica's school, real?
Takano.
And we couldn't pay attention because we kept seeing her in the background.
Okay, so here I'll send it to VCTX, the two things, and then I'll send the Takano jump scare too, so I can have it on the episode for people who didn't notice it too.
Oh yeah, I screenshotted it. It was so important to me.
She's so sassy.
Right?
I mean, it's Takano.
It is Takano. I am sad that Jessica didn't get to do her little Toho cosplay because I feel like I just really like the imagery of like Jessica dressing up as a little witch. But it was very, very, very funny to see her walk out in Satoko's school uniform and start
my God,
singing "Sweet, Sweet, Sweet."
That was the funniest part of the stage play. That was so
No, it
unexpected.
was so funny. We were all losing our minds.
This is the advantage of having the same company do all these stage plays. You just have all the costumes freely at hand.
So many Easter eggs.
Yeah, let me see. What else? What else happened? Rudolph was still as sassy as in the first time around. That was great.
Yeah. love to see
The
it.
way Butler meant spreads when winning over the table. That's also cool.
Yeah. I really liked how they did the first Twilight deaths with the intestines and stuff.
Yeah.
It looked really good.
Spooky.
With like the rotating table and like the intestines like come out of them.
The way everyone screams. Everyone's still screaming great.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone screams awesome.
Rip in peace vocal cords.
I loved the new intro.
Oh!
Wait,
Yeah.
about the first Twilight. The first Twilight, I like that it mimicked how the visual novel went, where as they walked up, they couldn't tell they were dead at first until they saw it from the right angle, and that's when the intestines were revealed, which was mirrored by the rotating table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
We also got to see Programming Socks battle.
Yes.
What do you have
That
to say about
is
that?
always the best. I love Beato and her little programmer socks with her silly little school uniform. She like skips around the mansion. That scene where Cannon knelt down and kissed her shoes. Like, sheesh, I wish I was Cannon in that moment.
God, I wish that were me.
Listen, the stage play just like heightened my horny levels for Beato, and I'm not apologizing for it.
Well, we shouldn't.
Don't apologize.
There's just something that hits way different seeing Beato live.
Mm-hmm. And she really tries to mimic Beata's facial expressions too.
No, like her posing, like the way she like moves around stage, the way she delivers her lines, like everything about it just screams Beato, and I love her. And I love how like intimidating a presence she is, even when she's so much smaller than Battler.
Yeah, especially at the end, like the very end where Butler's just
On all fours, pathetic, sopping wet, like hunched over, like
no
crazy to be
before
smaller.
that where she corners him against the table, and then Butler is winning over the table, and then Beato wins over him, and then does the hand thing
Oh yeah, that was
from his belly to the
She
neck.
has so much power over him. I was like, she Sheesh, I was battling in this moment.
No, you were not, because Butler was scared as shit. I could hear his pants getting shitted all over.
I'll be scared of her. Scared is high. She can scare me.
Listen, Lurf knows what they're talking about, okay?
I do. Listen, I'm happy to be quaking in my boots with her hand around my throat.
Quaking in your programming
choke
socks.
me, mommy, am I right? I'll accept her as a witch. I don't mind.
Oh, Canon's sword, like, okay, I'm glad they did it the way they did, but they could have done it better. Because if you look at it, when I'm trying to get a good angle of it, the way it's made, it just has a little handle that Canon holds it with. So in some scenes, it ends up being perpendicular to the arm itself, which is, at least it's not the way I envisioned it. I envisioned it that, like, the anchor point of the direction the blade was facing was tied to the back side of the hand, so it would always be parallel to the hand.
Right.
But because it's only one handle, sometimes it isn't, and it just looks kind of weird. It would have been better if it was, like, anchored. I don't know, if it had, like, an elastic, so it would be anchored to the hand itself, or if it had holes for you to put for Canon to put his fingers in, or if it had two handles and one of them was in the hand and the other was in the forearm.
I just think that would be a bit difficult on the stage play part of, like, getting it on and taking it off. I feel like the one handle is just, like, the most efficient way to, like, show it.
I think if it set off a handle, it had, like, two holes that were perpendicular to the blade itself, so you just, I don't know, put two fingers in, and that way you could control it. Because I imagine it isn't that heavy. I imagine it would be light. So.
Yeah, it's more like just, like, getting the arm in and out of holes, and also because the blade is so, like, it has so many holes in it, it'd be hard to hide another handle, I think.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, I think they did. I think that they did the best they could. Like, if I was making, like, props for this, I think I would do the same thing. I think at that point it's, like, more on, like, the actor to keep it, like, that way, but I feel like...
But I also feel like this way it's harder on the actor, because look at Canon. To keep the blade straight, Canon had to, like, bend their hands so much.
Right. I guess in the VN I imagined it with more curvature.
You did?
Because, you know, in the VN it's a magical weapon, so obviously it just, like, goes where it wants to. So I think as a prop it's not bad. It was a little bit jarring though, because I forgot that was about to happen, and I was like, oh, it's a physical weapon. I expected it to be something to do with lights again.
Yeah.
I'm glad it lights up though.
Yeah, I'm glad it lights up too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'd be hard to do that as a projector though.
Yeah, no, I'm also glad they went it physical. You mentioned lights, and I was gonna say, speaking of lights, every time Beato uses the magic, the lights they're all multicolored, which is how they describe Beato's magic in the first episode, Tea Party. But then it never comes up again in the VN. But they stuck with that detail on the stage play, which is cool.
Another thing about the lights that I noticed, it was very little thing. During the final scene, or the scene towards the end where Rosa and Maria are fighting off the goats. During that scene with her fighting off the goats, when Rosa whacks the goat with the bag, there's, like, a tiny gold, like, spotlight, because that has the gold in it.
Oh. I didn't notice that.
I thought it was very interesting, because the connection between gold truth and the golden butterflies, it's something I definitely didn't think about enough when I was reading the visual novel. So any clues that ties those three things sort of together helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cause
definitely.
Rosa is the culprit in this episode. Man, I'm skimming the stage play and I'm just thinking, these like movies, I guess, they release, they gotta be the optimal way to watch the stage play. Because if you're there in person, you're not, like, actually seeing all these facial expressions they're making, which are so good. They put so much effort in those.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on where you sit, but I think the real shame of not having, like, the DVD copy is, like, not being able to, like, go back and look at all, like, the little things that they did. Like, for example, like, the gold spotlight, like, most people would probably miss that, but because, like, we have, you know, the DVD copy, or recording or whatever, we're able to kind of go and like notice stuff like that, which is
and we're able
cool.
to pause to digest the fact that Mio Takano just popped up on screen before going on.
Yeah, because if I was there in person, I would have been like, hold on.
It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, count how many times the ball is passed, and then at the end it's like, hey, did you notice the bear?
Yeah, literally. Like, hey, did you notice Mio Takano?
You notice the Mio Takano bear?
Oh, another thing that I absolutely loved about the meta scenes is how the spotlight colors were assigned, how Battler always has a blue one and Beato always has the red one to represent like the main colors of truth that they use, even though blue truth hasn't been introduced yet.
Mm-hmm.
I was obsessed with like the whole screen like going red when like Beato was saying like a red truth and like overwhelming Battler. He still had that like little bit of blue on him to like separate him from the rest of it.
It is really fucking cool. It again, the details they I was gonna say they don't miss. They do miss, but like not frequently. It's like they have like 95% accuracy on their moves.
Yeah, like any complaints we have about like the visuals or stuff they cut out, like you have to realize like how minor these little things are. Like they're like such little nitpicks. And that's just because we're like huge Umineko fans that know everything there is to know about Umineko. So like
there's always going to be an element of, oh, if I was in charge of this project, I would do this. But that's only because we're such huge fans of Umineko.
Oh my god. If I was in charge of it, I would finally fix Butler's fucking outfit. It is not fitted for him. Please fit Butler's outfit better. What is this shit, bro?
Okay, but like
it's so loose.
In character, do you think Battler would have a fitted outfit?
I mean, yeah, look at the sprites.
Like, do you think he would give a shit to get his outfit fitted?
I think Butler really cares about his appearance.
With
like,
his family?
Yeah, I think that the amount of effort it took for Battler to just have the Ushiromiya name again does not speak well to how much
wear an outfit with
he cares about his appearance with the golden.
Okay, I guess that's a funny headcanon.
I can see it being a thing where like, you know, Battler return and they're like, it's family conference time, Battler, and Battler's like, shit, I've been wearing like just like casual clothes like for like the past 6 years and it's been awesome. I don't even have like any clothes with like the winged eagle on it anymore. And Rudolph's like, I don't fucking know. Take this old suit of mine. He's like, we can get it tailored, and Battler's like,
that'd
no.
be such a fun scene.
I don't think Rudolph would wear a suit that had an inverted cross for a zipper. I think it was either custom made for Butler or
Imagine
customized.
Battler, Kyrie, and Angie going shopping.
Yeah, like I can see them like going to like pick it up and like getting like the eagle embroidered, and then, you know, Battler's like, I don't want to put more effort into this.
But I think he did. I think the cross is on him.
Oh.
I think the cross was his idea. Because in the manga, you see Butler using his casual quotes before he got back into the family, and he also has an outfit with the cross on it. I think that's like his thing.
Yeah, I think it is like his idea, but I don't think like he went like out of his way to like get the suit like properly fitted and like get his body measured beyond that. I was like, he's like, this suit fits well enough, let's put on the cross zipper, you can like stitch on like the fucking eagle, and then we'll go to the family.
And we'll get this over with.
I'm sick of this. He's done. Like he's doing the bare minimum, you know? He's like, I have to dress nice, I have to have the one winged eagle on my clothes. That's
this is the first time I've really thought about how relatively little we know about Battler's life. Like, compared to all of the flashbacks we see with all the other characters. And this is partially deliberate because there needs to be an element of mystery for a lot of questions about... And there's also, you know, the whole mystery about Battler's past. But besides that, we're not really shown a lot of scenes of him living his life in between his time at Rokkenjima.
That is true, and
yeah, which I think is just like also a byproduct of Sayo first being the one to write these stories, and then later like Igo and Toya who has amnesia and is really only focusing on the Rokkenjima part of Battler's life because of closure purposes, and like the other part's not really important to Toya. So I feel like it's just like it's not the priority of anyone writing the story to dig deeper into who Battler is and what he's been up to, or they don't even know.
I always forget to keep in mind that not every situation can be interpreted with the, oh, magic is real, because that's how much of a romanticist I am. I like to think that meta world is very literal. Okay, it's this magical space, and there is no person writing it. But there's so many different angles to interpret.
You're so real.
But that's fair because we don't actually know which one's on top of which. Is it the meta world or the real Umineko world? We don't know.
Right.
As of now, they're equally as encompassing, I guess. We don't have confirmation that one is over the other, so
Yeah, nah. Umineko is valid to interpret in any way, as long as you don't believe Sayo is cis, because that's literally like the only impossible thing in the text.
it's in confession. The only good thing coming out of confession is confirmation.
It's not even. It's in the main actual like visual novel. How is there any wrong way to interpret Natsuhi Sayo being I am the baby from 19 years ago, and Natsuhi being like that man, that baby who is going to grow up to be a man is talking to me from 19 years ago.
It's definitely an element of ambiguity where it's like literally Natsuhi is only thinking about a child, a baby, not a boy, not a girl. It's just a child, and like I don't think even she knows what that child grew up to be.
No, she never once states what the possible gender of this grown-up baby. Not even once, obviously.
There's just a man from 19 years ago. Is the man from 19 years ago the same baby from 19 years ago?
No way. Clearly Natsuhi would never assume the man from 19 years ago to be the baby from 19 years ago, because we don't know that baby's gender. Clearly.
Regarding we not knowing much of Butler's life outside the island, I was gonna say there's still hope, because we can get another Butler Online character in Ciconia or some other story, and we can infer things from there. We already have one Butler Online character in Rosgan's Days, but I don't think there's anything to be inferred from there, because I don't think Butler was involved with the military before going to Rakenjima, so yeah, we need another one.
He's more of a make peace, not war kind of guy.
Yeah. That's more Kinzo adjacent, joining the military. Not for any like real purposes. For I want to die purposes.
Yeah, Kinzo is like make war, not peace.
Kinzo's like kill me. I don't give a shit what you do otherwise. And then he met his mistress, and he was like, actually, sketch that. Who's the Battler Line character you mentioned though? Is it Andre? Was I right?
Butler.
Oh, Rose Guns Days.
Yeah.
I thought you said Ciconia, and I was like,
Yeah, it's funny that the Butler Online character in Rosgan's Days is called Butler, because Butler's sprite folder in the Umineko files, it's not like all the character sprites have a folder that have the first three letters of their name, with some exceptions, and Butler's isn't BAT, it's BUT for some reason. So it's funny that they called him Butler in Rosgan's Days.
Oh, that reminds me. I didn't get to say it, and now the moment's probably gone, but you were saying that Battler was losing the battle, and I was like, if this goes on any longer, he's just going to be Thank you very much.
Oh my god. What a stupid joke.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I needed to hear that.
That's like that one meme. What the fuck is it? How does it go? Oh, empty. Have you seen that one where the guy just keeps erasing words from the word empty, and it just keeps sounding... He just keeps reading it as empty?
No.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, I'll send it to you. You can watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it at my own time.
After the episode. I'll try to remember to send it. It's funny. Because he just keeps getting so frustrated.
Empty. 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 Empty.
Anyway, is there anything else regarding the stage play we need to discuss? Or do we want to?
I really liked all the stuff they did with Rosa. I think they did it all super well. I love like the tea party as well with Rosa, and the whole like, you know, like eating her family members. That iconic scene.
Yuck.
I'm glad they did it the way they did, with like, you know, like the siblings all around, like in like silhouette, kind of like saying their lines, and bullying her. And of course the iconic fighting the goat scene. That was great. I was obsessed with how they did the goats, honestly. Like, that was probably one of my favorite parts, with, like, something about the glowing red eyes. It just, like, it hit real different. It was really
I imagine the fight going kind of different. I imagine Maria being a bit more active during the fight, probably because of that CG where you just see Rosa and Maria back to back.
Yeah, it's probably also influenced by the later scene from episode 8, which is very paralleling this.
Yeah.
Did Rosa kill a goat with a pen on the stage play?
I didn't notice.
She didn't do the pen punch on the stage play, but she did, like, do, like, a lot of, like, similar moves, like the gut punch and, like, twirling around and, like,
and the
like,
bag
shooting.
punch.
Yeah, I just think the pen thing might have been a bit difficult to do on stage. One, because the pen would be so small and difficult to see from far behind, and two, because that actually, like, could end up with someone getting hurt or damaging the costumes. Throwing
That's
a punch
true.
with, like, a sharp object at the fist. So I understand why they didn't. Speaking of throwing a punch, Jessica beating up her classmate.
Oh, yeah.
I love her.
But every scene with Jessica is so cool. I love Jessica so much more on the stage play.
Yeah, I just think, like, because, like, I'm reading Umineko with a new buddy right now, and
you're always reading Umineko with someone. How do you find these people?
What's your secret?
yeah, and we've made it to, like, episode 6, and he's got, like, Chicanon theory. He doesn't know why. And he's still, like, debating whether or not it's, like, a conscious choice or if they have, like, DID, but, like, he's thinking it's conscious because of, like, you know, how they kill off a character and they consistently keep that character dead. But, Jessica is someone they haven't, really been, like, you know, like, super attached to. He's been like, I really, like, need to, like, find more reasons to like Jessica, but she doesn't really do it much for me. And I feel like just, like, in the visual novel, like, Jessica, like, doesn't, like, she's, like, the most normal person there, and, like, a lot of her issues are really grounded, and so, like, by comparison to everyone else, she's, like, so much less interesting, but she doesn't, like, have any, like, qualities that make you, like, hate her. So, like, you know, like, he has more feelings about George because he hates George, and he's like, get away from Shannon. But Jessica, like, he's just like, I don't really, like, feel anything about you, and he feels bad about it. And I feel like Jessica really shines in, like, the physical acting department, which you don't get a lot of in the visual novel. So I feel like the stage play really just, like, lets Jessica shine and be the kind of character she was meant to be, with, like, the physical comedy, like, punching at her classmates, and, like, the exaggerated laughs, and, like, the gestures, and just being, like, a silly teenage girl, like she's
or even the asthma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to Jessica in general that it's really hard to because, like, you run into her at the beginning of episode 1 and you expect her to be the action girl, like, so I guess more of similar to maybe Mion, but, like, she's got a lot of depth to her and a lot of I guess wisdom, but also she doesn't know why she is. So I think every day I come to like Jessica like a little bit more.
Like, I really, really love Jessica, but I can see how, like, you know, average Umineko reader, like, just kind of going through for the first time wouldn't really see much with her, because she gets so overshadowed by literally everyone else, even, like, within the cousins. Like, you know, like, you have a lot of strong feelings about George because he's a little incel, and he's dating Shannon, and, like, proposing to her, and he has a lot going on. Like, Jessica, like, compared to him, just has this, like, little puppy crush on Canon, that's, like, solely based on, like, him being the only guy around, and Valor's our main character, so he has everything.
Butler's the main character, Mari is like
And Maria.
a secondary main character almost.
Yeah, Maria's got her and, like, the whole, like, abuse situation and all that witch knowledge, and Saktaro, and then you have Jessica, and she's like, I like Canon and I hate my parents. Like, you know,
her parents are not abusive enough, but they're also not unabusive enough.
Right? Like, her depth is so, like, subtle, and I feel like a lot of people find Jessica kind of predictable, but I feel like she's, like, a really nice grounding force among the cousins, kind of like how, like, Goda is a pretty good grounding force in the servants of being, like, the normal one.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Episode 6 also gives a lot of Jessica depth, as well as episode 7, like with her like faking her asthma. And actually my buddy CJ, who's in episode 7 right now, actually like sent me like an article about like Jessica's like fake asthma stuff.
An article about Jessica's fake asthma.
About fake asthma?
Yeah, where
Like a forum post?
no, like an actual like he was, because he doesn't go anywhere where Umineko spoilers could be, so he was actually doing like health research to like, you know, just figure it out. And apparently it's medically like accurate what she does and like how it like came over. Like habit cough that's like entirely psychological. He sent me a piece of the article. Although the origin of the habit cough remains unclear, it is frequently precipitated by a psychological or emotional stressor that transforms a psychological conflict into a physical symptom. This manifest serves two psychological functions. The primary game is to keep the conflict or stressor out of the conscious awareness, while the secondary gain may help get the individual out of a difficult situation and gain sympathy. Although the cough is harsh, the patient is usually quite comfortable between coughing bouts. So you can like placebo affect yourself into having this like habit cough.
What the hell?
That's so interesting.
And that's what Jessica did, because she started doing it to like get out of like uncomfortable situations and stuff like that, and then it became like an actual worse thing that she got. So it isn't like asthma, it's this habit cough that she has that like everyone is saying is asthma.
It's so interesting that actually parallels a real life experience for me, which is that it's a little bit different, but basically for some reason in like 7th grade-ish, I was an awkward kid and I didn't know how to start conversations. So for some reason, I would fake a yawn when I entered a conversation. Because I didn't want to walk up to someone and be like, hi, I'm so excited to talk to you. I would be like, oh, hello. And then I would actually yawn after that. And I felt like my first fake yawn was going to be exposed.
Oh.
It was really embarrassing and weird.
Damn.
Sounds like, yeah, I'm just like, holy shit, Rikishi accurate fucking bullshit once again. Like
he just keeps doing it. Pokey, when you were telling your story, you were like, when I wanted to start a conversation, and then considering the context of faking something, I thought you were gonna say like, you did the sitcom and anime trope of like bumping into someone. Whoops, I dropped my shit. Hello, who are you?
why do I feel like Jessica would do both of those though?
Yeah, she would.
Jessica's like a lot more socially awkward than like
Yeah, because she's with family this entire story. So
but like we get to see a bit of it at the cultural festival.
Do we think Jessica watches anime because of the Toho costume?
who doesn't watch anime?
I mean, technically Toho doesn't exist yet, but in 1986.
I'm looking up 80s anime. I mean, Akira is here from 88. Okay, no, that's too late.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't there a running gag in Umineko where the word tsundere hasn't been invented yet? So George is the one who brings it up, and then everyone's like, oh, it's that high-tech new thing. The tsundere.
It's that thing George keeps talking about.
It's so actually iconic that it's George who brings up that.
I think some like things that are canon in Umineko are like the funniest thing, like how George invented the term Tsundora.
Tsundora, though.
Okay, Nausicaa was out, and then Fist of the North Star was coming out.
Is that the one with the "You're Already Dead"?
You know, Maria is an anime person. She's so into anime that she knows anime that haven't even come out yet. Which actually can be diegetic, because when she brings up Card Capture Sakura, it's in episode 4, which is being written by Ikuko.
Oh my god, Ikuko's retroactive writing, the gift that keeps on giving.
I just like Umineko so much. But yeah, no, the stage play really, really lets Jessica shine. I feel like it lets a lot of characters shine. but I feel like Jessica especially, because like Battler, you get a lot of good like physical comedy. You get a lot of good like physical stuff out of everyone. Like one of my favorite details in both the stage play is the way Canon moves, because he is always like posture straight, his hands like at his side, like completely like rigid and straight, and he moves like he's like a little like marching doll, like who like doesn't know how to like have any like proper like limb articulation. He's like a stick, and I think it's like the funniest thing, because not only does it like seem very in character for Canon to move like so stiff and awkwardly and rigid because he's always like so serious about work, but it also makes sense for Shannon to be so uncomfortable being Canon that that's how he moves.
Yeah, well thought.
There's like an element of I guess I would describe it as self-loathing, but it's some line or another that's like, oh, he'll be unhateable. That's who I'll become when I don the disguise of Canon.
Yeah, and like also like the whole like gender dysphoria angle of like, I feel so uncomfortable being a boy, and I'm like visibly showing my discomfort, but everyone's like, oh, Canon, he's just like that. He's just rigid and unsociable and always looking so awkward and miserable. I just like, I never knew what like how I imagined Canon moving around before then. But the second I saw that, I was like, this is always how Canon has moved around in space in my mind now. Like, I can't go back. Like, it's just like, it's so perfect to Canon's character.
I totally agree.
I guess as far as other characters go, you mentioned Rudolph. I feel like he kind of gets the short end of the stick in the visual novel, where he doesn't get an episode that's focused on him like some of the adults do, and yeah, seeing him in motion and also with a voice, because I played without voice acting, it really helps characterize him and make him just more of a character. It's very fun.
Yeah, I think his voice actor in the VN really did a lot to compensate for the lack of visuals, because Rudolph is one of those characters that needs visuals. You need to see him man-spreading, but you don't get any in the VN, so I think his VA really did a lot to compensate for that. Because Rudolph is one of is a character that many people like and find charming.
Yeah, his voice actor from the PS3 version carries like a lot of weight when it comes to how he's characterized and how I view him. Yeah. Definitely. Like, I just, like, I can't imagine Rudolph not talking that way, and the actor in the stage play does a really good job portraying Rudolph and going above and beyond with, like, the man-spreading and, like, the lightly, like, slapping Battler on the butt and, like, just, like being, like, you know, like, a fucking cheeky bastard. I just think they do a very good job.
I'm suddenly very excited. I mean, I'm imagining a stage-played version of the scene in which Kinzo asks all of his like children why their grandchild is so special, and Rudolph has that monologue about how, if Battler was kidnapped and they asked for a ransom, I'd put a bow on him, but he's super interesting and he's more interesting than like 1 million people worth a single dollar, or something like that. And I just imagining that scene.
No, yeah. I'm really excited to see what they do with future stage plays. Like, because we know that, is it episode 3 coming out in like February or something?
We already have a release date?
I vaguely remember that it's supposed to be coming out like sometime like earlier next year. Like I know like they're working on it, because you know, they didn't know if they were doing episode 2 when they released episode 1, because they didn't know like the demand or how well episode 1 was going to do. And so by the time episode 2 came out, we did get like confirmation they are doing episode 3. And if I recall right, it's coming out like probably within like 6 months. Like, it's not going to take a whole year again.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm really pumped to see how they do like Eva Beatrice and like.
Oh my god, Eva Beatrice!
So many iconic scenes.
No, yeah, because it's gonna be so cool. I wonder who they're gonna get to like play her, because like it's gotta be like someone kind of younger. So I hope they can like pull it off. You know.
I think it's gonna be so hard, because Eva Beatrice is an annoying character, but her VA really does a lot to not make her annoying.
I think that her V8 does a lot to make her more annoying in like the best way with her SpongeBob
In a
laugh.
charming way, yeah, but it's hard to accomplish that.
Yeah, but like with how well they've done with casting before, I have complete faith in these people to like pull it off.
Right. We haven't even talked about Maria's actress yet this episode, because again, child acting, it's not easy.
She keeps doing great.
Incredible actress. That kid has a bright future. I think she also went like more full send on the kihihihis this time around. I think she did a really good job. And also in like the scene like comforting Battler and like, you know, the scenes like crying out for Rosa, like this kid has range. Like she did every scene phenomenally. Yeah, like I really applaud her.
Yeah. Everyone is so great. Do you think at some point we're gonna get the gold twist of, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't actually a remake. There are differences from this point on.
Oh, I hope
Do you think that's eventually gonna happen?
Oh, please don't.
I don't mean in like in a bad way, like it happened with Go. Like it can happen in a good way.
Because I feel like on one hand, I think Umineko is a great story to have those changes because you can just be like, oh, it's another forgery. You know,
different
like
bottle.
It's like every forgery is canon Umineko. So I feel like as long as you're sticking to the main points and stuff and you're not deviating from the truth of like, you know, the main formula.
Well, not every forgery is canon. Because I was actually trying to think about that the other day. Because EP9 isn't canon because it wasn't written by Federina. So...
Well, the thing is, it can be canon within, like, the Umineko world of, like, some random person in the Umineko world wrote it. It's kind of like, you know... Rikishi made this whole point of saying like, oh, a bunch of people started writing forgeries about it. Ikigos are just ones that got popular.
He's talking about fan fiction writers.
Yeah, so even if it's not like canon in terms of like, oh, it was addressed in Umineko, or oh, it actually is like valid in terms of the truth and properly portrays like the Shikanon truth, it's canon in the sense that like, oh, technically in the Umineko universe, anyone can write a forgery, and it is like, you know, a canon thing in the universe that people write Umineko forgeries and fanfics.
It's like in Homestuck. In Homestuck, the creator of Homestuck once confirmed that all fan trolls were canon.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that, because if Umineko is a story where, you know, there's infinite possible truths, and if it doesn't match the truth of the actual mystery of Umineko, that it's just a different story, then any fan fiction in universe created by real people about these real people, which is weird, that's canon. And in our world, if anybody writes a story, it technically is just as valid if it were to be staged inside of the meta world.
But in terms of like whether I think the stage plays are going to deviate, I remember back when the first stage play came out, there was a rumor that they were going to only do 4 episodes, and that, you know, that would probably change stuff up because they would have to like get through everything in 4 episodes. I don't think that's true, because judging from the EVE and how they did the episode 1 Tea Party, they did the episode 1 Tea Party in that way in the first stage play because they weren't anticipating doing more at that time. They didn't know. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they stayed so faithful to episode 2 as well, because I was still in that like rumor headspace where I was like, okay, where's the changes? Like, what's going to happen to like, you know, speed through the story so like we can get all the information we need. And when it happened like 1-to-1 exactly, including the tea party, I kind of realized they might just go full send with this, and they might just go through like all 8 episodes and just be like completely.
Let's go, Erika will appear. Let's go.
Which I have no doubt in my head that Erika is going to appear, because like the guy in charge, like the director or whatever, he kept making jokes about like climbing up the wall and duct taping and like, you know, making a bunch of Erika references. Like, Erika's clearly his favorite character. There's no way she isn't going to show up eventually. I would be shocked. I would be gobsmacked if Erika never appeared in the stage plays. He loves Erika so much. He's like, she's my favorite character.
I'd also be shocked if... Yeah, base. I'd be shocked if they didn't utilize the fact that it's a stage play in certain scenes. Like, there's this whole theme of theater goers, and like, if you just gesture towards the audience as though they're the audience in a scene. Like, just a minor example, like Toya's, or not Toya, freaking is all getting confused. Feathering person has a press conference and just does it to the audience, and then maybe like the jeering.
Yeah.
Imagine Feathering, like, when she's not on stage, going to sit in the audience
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god.
She sits where Statler and Waldorf go
with Angie.
in the Muppets.
Like they just have, like, a little, like, reserved, like, little area where they, like, sit. If not in, like, the actual audience, like, a kind of mock audience off on the side where you can see them, like, sitting in their chairs and watching. I think that'd be really... I think that'd be really funny.
Like in one of the balconies, if they have it there.
I don't think they have a balcony, but it would be really fucking funny
Yeah.
if they were, you know, like the Muppets that like that like bully the show.
You see her reaction, so it's like you're watching a reaction video the entire time.
Yeah.
Live burger reaction.
She's like,
It'd be so freaking good to see that. Speaking of audience, I really like how they gave the audience member glow sticks for the Jessica concert. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Oh my god, they're totally gonna pull some of that shit off in EP7 if they did that in EP2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do not doubt it, and I do not doubt like that they're gonna go full. Like the second Mushroom and I found out that the guy like who's like in charge of directing all of this is an Erica fan, we're like, oh, we're safe.
We're back.
Like there's
We're
no
so
way
back.
someone who likes based Erica this much is gonna do a bad job adapting Umineko.
although, if any were to be cut, I'd be scared for episode 7. I feel like that's always the one under discussion if you're not going to adapt the entirety of Umineko. Which sucks, because that's one's really partial to me.
I honestly, like, if an episode was going to be cut, I'd imagine, like, I don't know, like episode 8 or something. Like, I feel like that's kind of like the story's wrapped up and it's more just like an Angie closure arc. When she's already kind of had her closure. Like, not exactly, because, like, Angie by the end of episode 4 and, like, into, like, episode 6 is very much like, yeah, I'll accept magic, but it's not for me. You know, like, my world doesn't need it. But, like, I'm not going to deny other people's magic, whereas, like, episode 8 is about getting Angie to actually, like, accept magic and help her, like, use it to actually help her cope with her life and, like, realize, like, hey, like, I can move on and, like, be happy and I don't have to, like, hold on to all this grief anymore. Which I think is very important, but, like, I don't know. Like, if they were to cut something out, I might, like, even, like, say, like, mix episode 5 and 6 together somehow, where Battler comes to the truth, like either like mid EP5 or end of EP4 and becomes game master, and then like Bernstein and Lambda Delta are like, hey, what the fuck, and then Erica's here to like challenge Battler. Like I can see like a universe where like I wouldn't want it to happen this way, but I can see a universe where you can fuse those two together and like have Erica's whole arc and like have Battler understand Beato and go through the grief of like losing her and whatever. Because you can easily have, like, him actually kill Beato at the end of episode 4, and then, like, kind of, like, be realizing the truth about stuff. And because when Battler enters episode 5 as a player, it's already almost over, you can kind of have that, and he interrupts it and is like, oh, wait, I realize now, I've thought about it, I know the truth. And he's like, scrap your game, I'm running a game now. And
yeah, ideally it all gets adapted. I am also now thinking about all kinds of stuff that would be fun to adapt for a stage. Like in the scene where Angie jumps in out of nowhere at the end of episode 3, where if she actually came from the audience and joins the stage and goes from a viewer to a participant.
Oh my god.
Or go from like a
like
back
running
entrance.
in from the audience. Oh, that'd
It'd
be
also
so
be
cool.
so fun with the scene with Leon and Will. I don't know why I forgot Will's name for a second. Where the like things get slower as they exit the stage, so like they literally interact with the fourth wall, and that's the barrier between Rogue and GM and the slow down nothingness.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
that'd be super cool. I think also what would be really cool is Claire's whole confession on the stage, because it is like a stage thing. So like having like Angie and Leon like get like, you know, in the crowd also when like they do like the Burn Castell reveal thing on stage, and just like taking full advantage of like, hey, we're acknowledging we're on a stage now and this is a performance, and we're doing like the whole Greek chorus with Zepar and Furfur and like whatever.
Oh my god, Zerpar and Furfur on stage. Oh my god, we're gonna see them on stage.
Zephyr and Furfur would take over the stage.
Oh my god, we need to get to EP7.
I will say I was honestly surprised they showed the stakes like in person. I wasn't sure they were actually going to cast them. I thought they might like do projections and stuff, but I wasn't like actually anticipating they'd have full actors and like all the costumes and like go through the whole thing when there was only like 2 of them around. So I'm really excited to like see how big this cast.
Oh yeah, the cast is gonna grow every time.
No, I'm just thinking of how they're gonna adapt some scenes into a play. How are they gonna make Angie jump off the roof at the end of EP4?
Oh, you could do a thing where, honestly, if like, I don't know if strings are a possibility, but just, like levitating off the ground, that'd be so fun.
Yeah, I could possibly see strings. It looks like a low like budget play, so what I would imagine is possibly a thing where like Angie's like on one of like the top areas of like the set, standing up there and is like, you know, like acting out the whole thing, and you maybe have her like back up and like make a move to jump and the curtain drops.
Or actually have something for her to fall onto hidden behind one of the props, and then she actually jumps and whites out.
Yeah, or like maybe have like the butterflies catch her or something, or like some like, you know.
What
like,
would be fun if there was a projected background of the moonlit sky, and then when she jumps, the projection just sort of rotates, and then now you're looking at her upside down. And if you wanted to have the sensation of falling, you could have it the image zoom downwards. So she's just standing still, but it looks like she's falling head first down.
Yeah, I could also see something like that. There's lots of ways, because like I think one of the main reasons that Umineko works so well as a stage play is that the stage is like literally built for suspension of disbelief. Whereas if you see something like quote unquote magical on stage, you and the audience aren't inclined to think, it's a little trick. You're thinking, oh, it's magic in like, you know, the world of the stage play, and I'm immersed and I'm like going on stage. Because, you know, it's like when you knock on an empty wall, us, the audience, are like, oh, you're knocking on a door. We're not like thinking about like logically like, oh, it's just like empty space. Like, what are you knocking?
Oh, where'd that sound come from?
Must have been the wind.
Yeah, no, like we're, you know, you're more inclined to buy into the character's actions even if they don't seem like realistic. Which works so well with Umineko and the magic scenes and the projections and portraying magic, because you can have the audience, you know, suspending their disbelief and believing all these projections and fancy lights and stuff are magic when it really is just projections and fancy lights and lies. I think that's like such a cool thing to like fight against, and like I could see moments where like magic is denied and like, you know, you have like the whole like the lights go off or like projections or like the lights change and it shifts, like when like Berncastel denies like Natsuki and Beato's little lunch, where like, you know, like they have it and suddenly like the screen goes dark and like Beato's gone and like the lights turn all blue and sad.
That's so fun.
And she's just gone, and it'd be so fucking cool.
Where we hit a sweet spot with this marriage between Umineko and an actual stage play. It's working really well for the story, in favor of it.
I'm obsessed.
Do we have any more thoughts specific to this episode, or should we move on to the second thing we have to discuss?
Yeah, and thinking about stuff that could be adapted, could honestly be its own episode in and of itself. There's so many cool ideas.
Oh yo, next smoking room ?
How would we adapt the next couple episodes?
We can squeeze this milk every new episode. Let's go.
Let's go. Free podcast topic.
Changing plans. This is gonna be the end of the episode for now. That is because on the second part, where we were supposed to read the Higurashi Mei story with Ewa and Hanyu, when we get into that, we really get into it, and honestly, it deserves its own episode. So unfortunately, this year's fandom check is gonna be just the stage play, and next week you'll get the second part of this episode, which is gonna be its own episode. So look forward to a lot, and I mean a fuck ton of meta world discussion and trying to infer what Ikuko is like based on Higurashi and Umineko subtext. It's really cool. It's really cool. I'm really proud of this second half of the episode. So hope you're looking forward to that, and I hope you enjoyed the episode up until now. See you next week.